So if you've been watching my channel for a little bit now, you've probably seen a bipod hanging around off the end of certain rifles, especially air rifles. Maybe on my 22 here or there, and maybe it caught your eye because it's kind of an interesting bipod. It's not something you see in the PRS world or in a lot of videos even. In fact, when I did research, I could only find a few videos that had this bipod in it at all, although if you're on Amazon, they probably try to advertise this to you if you're looking up a lot of gun stuff from time to time. This right here is the UUQ bipod from I think it's pronounced Ajoite or something like that. It's definitely an Amazon special, made in China, almost 100% sure that it's just shipped over and then sold in bulk. And it's an interesting bipod because it has actually relatively good reviews. There's just not much out there, so I decided I'm going to make a quick overview video, maybe discussing a little bit. I'm going to compare it against some other bipods in an upcoming video, but I've mounted it on every gun that I have with Picatinny on it, basically. And so I've tried it out on quite a few things. Like, here's my 22. So that's a relatively expensive setup. It's a $3,500 setup, and I really like how it performs after I've leveled the reticle and done everything I need to make sure it's stable. I really like how it performed. I actually did really well in my groups. I'm going to have to show it in the next video, but this bipod did excellent from the bench. I'm not going to talk too much about shooting off of different structures or NRL 22 stages or things that are kind of complex, but you can see here, if you needed to get some extra height, it's got a lot of extra height and a really wide base for those legs, and those legs are multi-directional, so you can adjust them in a few different ways. You can see you could almost do the splits in different directions. You could load it to the rear like that if you wanted to, and then you can also load it to the front. And there's several positions, and those detents on those legs, you can see there's like a big stainless steel button there. It locks in really firm, guys. It's very solid on those legs. I didn't feel much movement at all, and the feet themselves are actually the biggest of all the bipods I have. Very big rubber feet. Did a pretty good job. I was actually really surprised for a bipod that costs, around 60 something, maybe 65 bucks. The legs and the feet were some of the best features, as well as those detents when it locks into those positions. Now, one thing that I'm not going to be a big fan of, but at least it has it. If I can get these legs out of the way for you, you can see there is a cant device or mechanism there. And so there's a spiral screw there. You're going to back that out, and that's going to allow you to move it and kind of negotiate it around a little bit left or right to give you that bias on whatever surface you're shooting on. So not exactly a quick adjusting feature. This right here is supposed to be a quick release, and it is a quick release, but I'm going to tell you it's not the fastest to attach. It's probably faster than using a couple Allen screws, and you don't have to have any tools necessarily, but you kind of have to play around with this to get it just right. And then there's just that little brass plate, and it's giving tension on the brass plate, as well as another deal here. I'm going to show you how that kind of incisors. It goes inward just like that, and that's where you're providing your tension from, and it's on a brass plate, so kind of funky. It's a little weird. I'm not sure if I trust this on, I don't know, a really expensive rifle, or if I was actually going to use it on something that was more than my PRS rifle, but it works, and it actually feels pretty well locked up once it's there, but I had to mess around with it to get it just right. Again, just showing you how much mobility there is in the legs, how many different positions. And there, I'm going to show you a little bit of that cant. Frustrating thing again with that cant is as soon as you find the position you want it in, you're kind of stuck there. There's a little retention plate behind. You have to line that up every time, and this rod, man, it is so awkward trying to get that thing around and to tighten up. And unfortunately on my model, when it tightens up, it goes right in the wrong direction. Instead of going straight down, it's right in the way. It works on my rifles, and I've tried it on all three of these right here, but I have a review coming up where I'm going to kind of compare. It's on the far right there. I'm going to compare against the middle bipod, that's an Atlas, and on the far left, that's a UTG. And there's some interesting results. I've done pretty well with it, but stay tuned and watch those other reviews for more information.